Hey, good morning, everybody. Pete Kima here. We are live from the loading dock in Wake Forest. If you've not been to the loading dock before, if you've not been here before to the loading dock, I can't encourage you enough to come to the loading dock. Why am I here this morning? Well, the Wake Forest Chamber of Commerce once a month does a coffee club here, and it just happens to overlap with Coffee Talk with Kima. And so we do it live from here once a month. And it's fun, right? It's a networking event. Here's the best part about this networking event. You don't have to be a member of the chamber to come here to this coffee club, right? Which is really, really cool. So if you're considering the chamber, come on, come see us, come talk to people. It is a great place to meet new businesses, to expose your business, those kinds of things, right? And it's a great place just to come just hang out for an hour first thing on a Friday morning. Anyhow, good morning to you. This is a special edition of Coffee Talk with Kima. Why is it special? It's special because today is the last Coffee Talk with Kima before the Super Bowl. But how do you spell Super Bowl? Is it S-U-P-E-R or is it S-O-U-P-E-R? Why do I say it like that? Several years ago, a lender friend of ours did a Super Bowl, S-U-P-E-R, where they had a cook-off, a chili cook-off and a soup cook-off, which I thought was just the coolest thing. And so I'm curious if we did something like that next year, or maybe I don't know, we'll pick a different holiday. But would you want to be involved in a chili cook-off? Maybe we could even do it right here at the chamber or at the loading dock. Anyhow, I love that. It got me to thinking that maybe this Sunday it's gonna be rainy and nasty here in Raleigh, right? Man, there's no better day than on a cold, wet, rainy day than to have chili. And it's gonna be Super Bowl, right? So thinking about doing that. Now, some people like hamburger chili, some people like chili with lots of beans in it. Give me some steak. I want steak in my chili, right? Anyhow, so it's either Super Bowl or it's Super Bowl, but either way, it's Super Bowl weekend. So let's talk about it a little bit. Which is it that you like more? Are you a World Series fan or are you a Super Bowl fan? And I ask this because I think we have screwed up the World Series. World Series used to be must-see TV, but every World Series game for the last, 20, 30 years now has been on at night. Right? Too late for kids to stay up and watch it, so they can't watch their idols, their favorite players, that kind of thing. Well, the Super Bowl gets it. They play in the evening time. It's a big one-day event. They make it available for everybody to watch the game, and it seems to make a lot of sense to me. But I'm a fan of two things. A, let's bring World Series games back to the daytime so the kids can watch it. And B, what about Super Bowl Saturday? Why are we still doing Super Bowls on Sundays and have to go to work the next day? Right? It seems to me that Super Bowl Saturday should be a really easy thing that we can figure out, right? Anyhow, just me ranting for just a second. So, do you watch the Super Bowl? And if you don't, what do you do during the Super Bowl? Like, for those, I've never understood that. I just assumed everybody watches Super Bowl all around the world. But if you don't watch the Super Bowl, what do you do during the Super Bowl? Like, is there anybody out on the streets? Like, I've never been outside during the Super Bowl. So, like, are people at stores? The stores shut down? Like, I don't really understand. But if you don't watch the Super Bowl, tell me what happens during the Super Bowl. Well, good morning, Anthony, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. Eagles, I hear you. I hear you. Good to see everybody this morning. Anthony, you're supposed to be here. I'll see you soon, I hope. So the other question I have about the Super Bowl, not only do you watch it, but, like, have you ever been to a Super Bowl, and would you spend the kind of money to get to a Super Bowl? Like, everybody knows I'm a passionate Raider fan. If the Raiders make it to the Super Bowl, other than the pressure of my son Cam wanting to push me to go to the game, it's a high likelihood I'm watching that at home. I'd rather buy new TVs and set up a man cave and spend that kind of money rather than the money it's going to take to buy average tickets at a Super Bowl, I think. But let me know. If you've been to a Super Bowl, am I missing out? Should I go? I know Jason McCoy's got a great Super Bowl story from when he went. And yeah, just curious. More than anything else, just curious. So the Super Bowl's being played in Phoenix, Arizona. And when they built that stadium, I got to be honest with you, like, I'm in love with it. Like, as a Virgo, I like things that operate. I like structure. I like things that come together, right? And so I'm not a fan of football being played indoors, but I'm more of a fan of football being played indoors than ever before because of this stadium. They changed the game to me. All week long in Arizona, they have this big, beautiful field of grass outside right next to the stadium. And on game day, they wheel it in. Like, they lift up like a little garage door. The grass wheels in, and then they play the game on natural grass indoors to stay out of that Arizona heat, and then they wheel it back out to grow that beautiful grass again. And I thought that was brilliant. And what do you do with the big open space after they wheel the field in? It's player parking, right? Player and personnel parking. Brilliant. I love when somebody thinks of things that have never thought of before. So the Raiders' new stadium out in Vegas, they did the same thing. Because who wants to sit outdoors in Vegas in the early season and watch football, right? Nobody. It's kind of like Arizona. But I thought that was brilliant. So that's one of my favorite things. So who wins the game? Lisa, you're not allowed to answer. Who wins the game, right? Simple question. I think it's going to be closer than most people I've been talking to think it's going to be. And here's why I think that. Because the Vegas odds makers are rarely wrong. They're usually pretty spot on. And this morning, the point spread was 1.5, right? The Eagles are laying 1.5 to the Chiefs. But forget the 1.5. Who wins the game outright? Who wins the Super Bowl this year, right? I have a really difficult time. Listen, as a Raider fan, I hate the Chiefs. I have a real difficult time telling you that Patrick Mahomes will lose this game. But I think that defense might be the difference over there in Philadelphia. And so this year, I'm not raising my cup to any Eagles fans. I'm going to tell you that right now. Steve Kruger, Steve Cipher, you guys, Lisa, I'm not doing it. That being said, I do think the Eagles win the football game. The over-under this year is 51. 51.5, I believe, is the over-under. I believe we're going to be under. What say you? Do you think that they'll score combined more than 51.5 points? I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think a beat-up Jalen hurts them. And I think that defense in Philadelphia is just, it's ridiculous. I love all the fly Eagles fly thing. So you've been to the Super Bowl. Okay, I remember that Super Bowl. So one of the other things I really like about this stadium is the Pat Tillman statue outside. And I will raise my Kima cup this morning to Pat Tillman. For those of you that don't know, go look up the Pat Tillman story. Pat Tillman was a young man playing football for the Cardinals that when September 11, 2001 came about, he dropped his football career and joined the military to go defend our country. Right or wrong, politically or not politically, whatever you think about those kinds of things doesn't matter to me. When a man or a woman decides to drop what they're doing to go defend our country and do the right thing, to me, that deserves a raise of the cup. And so that statue is one of the highlights to me of the Super Bowl. I hope they do a really good job featuring Pat Tillman. So what is the best part of the game to you? Are you a halftime person? I hate the halftime show. Back when they did Up With People in the 80s, who remembers watching the Super Bowl halftime show Up With People? Woo. But I'm not a halftime show guy, but I'll tell you what, it's always the most controversial part of the game every single year. If you jump onto Facebook or Twitter or Insta right after the halftime show, you're going to find the country is more split than we are with the Republicans and Democrats, right? For me, I hate it. A, it's too long. B, just not a music guy. Not a big deal to me. Let's get right back to football as far as I'm concerned. But are you a fan of the halftime show? Now, commercials, I'm all in on the commercials. All in. Do you happen to have a favorite Super Bowl commercials? I've got one that really stood out. Then there was ones like the Budweiser Frogs when that first happened. That was cool. That was really cool. But do you remember the one? There was an old dirty road. There's an old dusty country road, nothing to be seen in any direction. And there's a chicken just standing there. Just a chicken by itself and tumbleweed going by. And all of a sudden, the chicken starts walking across the street. And you're like, what's going on? And then you look up, they pan out, and there's a big Budweiser bar full of people partying. And then all it simply said on the bottom of the screen was, now we know. I thought that was brilliant. That one has stood out to me for so many years. Oh, goodness. Anyhow, so commercials or halftime? Which one are you a bigger fan of? Lump, I'm with you. I'm with you on the commercials, brother. You guys remember the Puppy Bowl and the Bud Bowl and all that? Cute. Yeah, didn't do a lot for me, but cute. So, want to talk a little bit about when, don't forget the what's up? Like, I love that commercial, too. To this day, I still have fraternity brothers that will call me, and that's how we'll answer the phone for each other. Wake Forest needs a Kima statue. Dude, who let Trey McDonald on here this morning? So I want to tell you a couple Super Bowl stories. So when I first started watching Super Bowl as a young kid, I would go to the Richardsons and the Rices, right? They lived in a house up on Mechanic Street, and we would go up there and watch Super Bowl and have a great time. Then I became old enough to stay and watch Super Bowl by myself, and I remember the very first Super Bowl I watched by myself, my buddy Joey Hurdle came over. Shout out to you, Joey. And we watched the Raiders beat the Redskins back in January of '84, right? But then as I got older, we started doing this really cool tradition that still goes on to this day back home in Massachusetts. Liz Locious and Dave Locious, and God bless Dave, I miss you, buddy. Everybody would go up to their house, bring food and alcohol, and we would have a big party up to David and Liz's place, and that was a lot of fun. And then I went away to college, and when I'd come home, I'd get a chance to go up there. I remember one Super Bowl, my dad and I must have eaten 6 lobsters, and I think he made a chowder. It was just a blast, right? But I got a Super Bowl story for you about my wife, Jennifer, and I think you'll love this. This is great. This is when she and I were first dating. We went to a Super Bowl party in Atlanta with a bunch of friends. And we get there, and everybody's into the game. I'm especially into the game. And I happen to look over, and Jennifer's turned all the way around in her chair, playing with something on the little end table over there. And I was like, "Hey, Jen, what are you doing?" And all 20 people, the game stopped. They all turned and looked at her. The only person not interested in the football game at all happened to be the girl that I was about to marry. And oh man, I think opposites attract is probably the thing that comes to mind there. So, and then now, Super Bowl's now, right? So we get together with the McDonald family, not to watch the game, but we run a little pool in our house. So we run a couple of Super Bowl pools. One's about prop bets, and one's about, who's going to win the quarter, Super Bowl squares, right? And but we do that with the McDonald family, and that makes it a little more fun, right? We always enjoy doing that. But my kids are getting to be that age where they're getting ready to get out of the house, and as they get closer to that stage, I think the Super Bowl tradition will change again. And so I'm curious to see how life continues to evolve. But Super Bowl memories are something that is strong in my family, and I miss them. So enough about the Super Bowl. Last thing I'll hit you with the Super Bowl is, what is your favorite prop bet? I'm putting together the prop bets for this year. So some people like the one where, will the national anthem be longer or shorter than X amount of time? Somebody else like, who wins the coin flip? Who scores the first field goal? Will there be a safety? All those kinds of things are always in there, right? So share with me, DM me your favorite prop bet, and we'll add it to our list this year. Last thing I'm going to leave you with before I talk to you about real estate real quick is this. Yesterday I got to go to a baseball practice, the very end of a baseball practice. I made a post about it, and apparently it moved a few people. The person that moved the most was me. So my son Camden, I'm proud to tell you, is back on the baseball diamond for the first time in 9 months, since last May, when he broke his back the first time, or fractured his back, whatever. And then he did it again immediately after healing from it. But he has been out. This is his 3rd practice, and it's great to smell that baseball dirt again, the clicking of the cleats. For those of you that played baseball, you know what I'm talking about. I'm so proud of Camden. He's working really hard, and I'm probably going to flood my social media with a lot of Camden playing baseball for the next, for the spring and summer anyhow. So let's talk about real estate. Pending listings are over 5,000 in the market here. Over 5,000 pending listings for the first time in several months. We talked about it last week. We talked about it the week before, and that is we're staying steady with our active listings, but our pending listings are growing and growing and growing. Meaning, what's coming on the market is selling. But here's what's interesting: there's no data behind this. This is just me talking to other people, whether it be sales managers for new construction, whether it be other real estate agents, and this is all Triangle, by the way. And even within our own group. What we're seeing is our lower price product people are struggling to get into for a variety of reasons, right? Blame it on inflation, blame it on whatever you want to. But we're not selling as much of our product that's sub $350 as we are stuff that's in excess of $550,000. We're selling $550,000 houses right now like they're chiclets. The market has changed, guys. I saw a friend of mine who's at Real, Carrie Schlegel, yesterday, shout out to Carrie, talk about the fact that she got her listing, her showing on a listing was canceled because it went under contract with multiple offers in the first 7 hours. Guys, this is starting to sound eerily like what we experienced about 1.5 to 2 years ago. The beginning of that. What does this mean? It means investor money is likely to flood back into the market if we see a drop in interest rates. I'm going to keep beating this dead horse here. Fact is, if you're looking to buy a house in the next 12 months and you're going to use financing, do it now. That's not in Raleigh. That's everywhere, guys. Investor money will be back. So anyhow, commercials are usually better than the halftime show. I agree with you, Lisa. Anyhow, listen, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you had a great week. I hope your team wins in the Super Bowl, because next year the Raiders will win the Super Bowl. I love you all. If nobody's told you this yet today, you matter. You really do matter, right? You're not by yourself. And if you need somebody, call me, all right? Reach out to somebody in your life. Don't do these things alone. And if you don't have any place to go for the Super Bowl, you can come watch the game with us. Can't be in on the prop bets unless you bring money. Y'all take care. Good to see everybody.